again about the best way to praise your teen, and it's not what you think. Why is this important? You know, so many times we praise our children and we get the feeling that it's not sticking. They are really not connecting with what we're saying. They don't believe it's true. It's that old, oh, you're my mom, you have to say that about me syndrome. And it also sets up expectations for them. When we praise what they're doing, they start to get this feeling that they have to do it all the time, and that puts a great deal of pressure on them. So I'm here to tell you that there is a better way to do this that will help your child build self-esteem and grow in the process and improve your relationship, because it's what you say and what you don't say that makes the difference. So let's jump right into this. Point number one, your child needs what you need. Let me say that again. Your child needs the same things that you need, emotionally speaking. Let me ask you, how well do you receive a compliment? You know, oh, your hair looks nice, or I love the dress that you're wearing. Oh, that old thing, or my hair. No, you know, right? We don't take that very well. Why should we expect that our kids who are much younger and have fewer communication skills and emotional self-awareness, why should we expect that they're going to do any better at receiving compliments than we do? All right. So these are some of the things that we should be caring about as we talk about what kind of praise to give our children. Okay. Now, they often, as I said before, they often do not believe what we're saying to them. For instance, gosh, you're such a great basketball player. And in the back of your head, your kid may be saying, yeah, but you didn't see the shot that I missed, or you didn't see how I messed up in practice today, or the coach yelled at me. So we're trying to make them feel better. And for them, sometimes it's just reinforcing what they've done wrong. The brain has a negativity bias. That means that it will always latch on to the negative much more quickly and find a reason not to believe what you're saying, to doubt, to catastrophize. All right. So when you talk to your kid and say, you're a great basketball player, it's very general. And they're thinking, oh gosh, it's my mom, it's my grandma, it's my father, it's my uncle. They love me, so they say those things, right? But they don't really know the truth. Or you're such a good friend. Oh yeah, mom, but you don't know the fight that I had with my friend before you saw us hugging and making up. Okay. So there's always that, or often that, yes, but. And that's another tip for you about using the word but. As soon as someone adds the word but, it negates whatever came before. So watch out how you use that word. And your kid is probably using the same word. Yes, but you don't know the half of it. You don't really know what's going on. I'm not what you think I am. All right. Next, you cannot give your child positive self-esteem. You can't just hand it over to them and magically they get it. They're feeling better about themselves and they are ready to take on the world. Wouldn't it be nice if that were the case? That's not how it works. High self-esteem comes from doing. And I've talked about this in other trainings and podcasts, this idea that self-esteem is misunderstood. The popular culture says when kids feel good about themselves, they'll do good things. So we pour into them about how wonderful they are. And every painting or drawing is a masterpiece. And everybody gets a trophy, win or lose, although that may be changing now with the younger kids. It's when they do something good. It's when they pull themselves up after a mistake, a failure, a fight. That's when they learn what they're made of. And that's when they can feel better about themselves. Self-esteem is an inside job. And that's going to lead me to the next point, which is the actual tool and the actual message of this training. We don't spend so much time on praising their achievements. That's outside of them. Things happen in the world, achievements come and go, jobs, titles, degrees, wins on the field, the grades, none of that can be guaranteed. It can be taken away like that, or something can get in the way, something happens in your life that pulls your attention away, and that thing that you were excelling at has lost some ground. What do we need to do? And here's the meat of this today. We praise the attitude and we praise the effort. This is the inside job, the internal work that we're going to help them recognize what's right about them. Where are their strengths? Where have they succeeded in those less measurable ways? And that's a printer resetting itself in the background. Sorry about that. So we praise the attitude and the effort. And let me give you some examples of this. I was actually working with someone whose sister was really having, this was an adult, and her sister was really having some problems with depression, anxiety, and self-esteem. And of course, she wanted to help her sister feel better. So she would tell her how beautiful she was. And her sister really did not think of herself as beautiful or attractive. And when we talked about this, my client and I, one of the things that we came up with is, how do you help somebody who has such a poor self-image? How do you help them improve that? And one of the things that we came up with was this idea of praising her choices, right? You put together a really nice outfit there, right? That's something that her sister did herself. It's not about whether or not the world perceives her as beautiful. Her sister did that herself. All right. And I gave you a couple of examples before about how we may praise our children. And one of them being, you're such a great basketball player. How do we flip that from something kind of generic and outside themselves? It's really relying on a talent or a skill, to something that's more character-based. I saw how hard you worked at practice today. I noticed you passing the ball to your teammates. You were a real team player today. Oh, yeah, I was. And you see, that's not contingent upon the win or the loss. That's just how they showed up. And I think that's the point here, is how is your child, your teen, showing up? What is the nature of their character? In the example about the friends, what a good friend you are. And then there was the but behind that on the child's end, but you don't know what happened beforehand. How do we flip that? We change that to, you're such a good listener, or I see how much you care about your friend. That has nothing to do with whether they had a fight or not. People love each other and they still argue and disagree about things. But it's obvious to me, honey, how much you care about her. Okay? Or a homework assignment. It could be, I know that's your hardest subject and you tackled it first. I see how determined you were. And in order to start switching up how we give this kind of praise, it's really helpful to create or search for a list of words that describe positive character traits or the values. How do you hope your children will show up in the world one day as adults and improve their skills with that along the way? So that could be things like generous, persistent, determined, sense of humor, compassionate, helpful, the list just goes on and on. Supportive, friendly. Yeah, so you get the idea. The next time you have the urge to praise your child, stop for a moment. Help them recognize what's right with them, what's good about them, because that team could go on a losing streak for a variety of reasons, or they might not get into the school of their choice, not because they're not smart and they're not qualified, because there are external influences out there that impact what's going on for them. They don't know how many people have applied to that school, whether they have quota systems on something, which I probably shouldn't even bring that up. You know, what other people's essays looked at. It doesn't make them any less capable. However, the aftermath of getting that rejection letter is where you start to talk about, after you acknowledge how difficult this is for them, where you start to help them see what they've done right. You know, I know you put everything into it. You really gave it your best shot. What's next for you? Right? And that's a whole other training about shifting energy after you reflect back what you see in your children, what emotions you are seeing, and then how you help them move on. But again, coming back to that idea of what's right with my kid, how did my child show up?